This is episode 65 of the Wilderness Locals podcast. On this episode, we have Cole Hank and Justin Davies. They're going to talk about their stone sheep hunt, some gear, and I don't know, whatever else we come up with. This podcast is brought to you by Kafaru International, the toughest hunting gear on the planet, bar none. Frontiersman gear, high quality, completely custom, handmade knives made in the heart of the Peace Country. And as always, we're brought to you by Just Shooting Arrows, BC's premier archery shop.
It makes our 60-mile vertical climbs feel like nothing.
Gross.
Yeah, we're not so gritty now.
Yeah. So you boys just got back. I hit record, by the way. So you boys just got back from a sheep hunt not long ago.
Just got back a month ago.
Nice.
So it's been a minute, I guess, but
yeah,
time to think about it anyways and kind of go over what we did right and what we did wrong in our heads.
Yeah. So where'd you guys go? What's it called?
It's called Redacted.
Yeah, right. What?
Yeah.
So did you
good
guys,
old Region 2 sheep hunt.
Perfect. So you guys had a good time and learned some stuff and burnt some boot leather by the sounds of it.
Yeah, every year we seem to learn something and mess a few things up. But another great trip. We started off learning about things we already knew and managed to mess up anyways in regards to backpacks. So usually what we do is when we're at my place before we head out, we load everything in there, all the food, toiletries, clothes. Everything's just basically dialed in, thrown in the Kafarus and ready to go in the truck. Mm-hmm. What we messed up this year is we threw the majority of it in. We kind of had our food mostly packed. We knew what we needed. We're like, we're good, whatever, we'll figure it out. Justin got here, literally threw all of his stuff on the ground right by my coffee table and started packing his food there, just haphazardly, basically throwing crap into his bag. Like, I'll be all right. I'll figure this out. It's all good.
I will survive.
I will survive. Put all that together, threw it in the trucks.
Low maintenance.
Yeah, something like that. Threw all the bags in the truck. Then we headed on north and did the classic stops at Precision Optics there and ran into some friends. Mm-hmm. Had a good chin wag and then continued all the way up a little further, spent the night at a buddy's place.
Nice.
And of course, what we did was we dug into our bags because we wanted our toothbrush, we wanted this, we wanted that, blah, blah, blah. So our bags end up scattered all over the place again with crap everywhere. We're okay, now we got to go back through this, make sure we put everything back in the bag. And it's these little things that just constantly waste time. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like it just delays the trip. And I think it probably cost us like at least 6 to 12 hours of being on the mountain a little earlier, I would say. I don't know what you think about that, Justin.
Yeah, no, that's probably fair. I think it was like a fair bit of complacency with the organization. Like we had a couple bins and duffel bags each of our gear. So we kind of knew that we had everything that we needed. So leaving didn't feel like we were forgetting stuff, but it wasn't organized the way that it was on our previous trips. So leaving, like, I don't know if you have felt the same way that I did, but leaving the boat for our hike in to where we were going, that was a scary thing. I just kept thinking like, I'm forgetting something. Like there's gotta be, there has to be at least one or two things that I've missed because we keep unpacking our bags and packing them and grabbing stuff out of them and just not organized and disciplined enough because not only having success with animals, but having like no gear issues really, and never forgetting anything, never having anything major break or malfunction on us. So you go in a little bit complacent is what happened anyways, but I don't know. That's not that interesting. I'm sure we can find something better to talk about.
It was funny when me and Wasey were on our goat hunt and I was like just last minute changing stuff in my bag. I had it all spread out of the hotel room that we were in the night before we went up the mountain, and I sent it right to Cole. And I was like, "You said when I get where I'm going, just dump my bag out, right? That's what you do." It's just like Cole had a tiny stroke.
I did, man. It stressed me right out. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, as soon as I saw that picture in our group chat, I knew that Cole's heart rate just about doubled and his heart fell out of his mouth. I was looking at the disaster of gear because I can do it to him and still keep things organized. But he's fun to rile up from time to time.
It just gets my blood boiling, man. I can't handle it. I need it to be somewhat organized and dealt with. Like the year prior, we loaded everything and did exactly what I said we should do. Is just keep everything in the backpack ready to rock, and it was fine. The only thing that is weird is when you pick that bag up before your food and everything's in it, it's pretty light, right? You're like, is this really all I need, like, to be in the mountains for 12 days? Just this and my food? Like, it's a strange little concept to figure out, but once you actually get on the mountain and you're like, oh yeah, everything's here. I'm good. I even got a pillow. Like, fine. What else do you really need?
You know what?
It always surprises me, I think.
Yeah. What always surprises me is how little crap I actually use from that bag. And then like my kit is getting more and more Spartan the more time goes on. And I feel like one day I'm just going to be up on a mountain somewhere and be like, oh, I don't have anything. Like, where's all the stuff I need? Like, I just have some tape stuck to a water bottle. This is stupid.
You know, well, we always think that, but then when we kind of talk about it and rehash after the trip, like I'm pretty sure I literally used every piece of gear that I brought in my pack. I don't think that there's really anything that I'd want to do without. I mean, sometimes you're like, well, we had really good weather and I never put on my rain gear. Maybe I put my jacket on to fight the bugs when I was glassing or something, but I could have done without that. But you're never going to go up into the mountains without rain gear, no matter sort of what it weighs or what it takes.
Not if you still have your sanity.
Yeah, no doubt.
No, but this year was kind of funny because I came in pretty good hiking shape, and Cole had a little bit of a knee injury from just day-to-day life.
Jazzercise class?
It was kicking a trout to save a small dog, I believe, was the story that I heard.
That was the story I went with, yeah. And believe it or not, three of the 12 people I told actually bought it. So
nice.
There you go.
I'm sure you actually sprained your knee in yoga class with your old lady.
Oh, dude, that'd be worth it at least.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. My issue was worse than that. It was Canada Day, and it involved alcohol and falling off of a dock. So,
okay,
yeah,
that's fair. He's telling me this 2 or 3 weeks before our sheep trip, and he's trying to tell me that he kicked a trout to save a dog, and I just looked at him like, "You've got to be shitting me! There's no way that happened." And he's like, "Yeah, no, you got me. You're the only person that called me out immediately." But like, it's a funny game to try and hide at least something in your partner's pack and see if they notice or not. And Cole got the whiskey in my pack last year, and I did find it actually before we left, but I got the whiskey into his pack this year. But before that, I was saying, like, and I was honest, I said, hey man, if there's anything you want to ditch from your pack and put in mine, and I've got room, like, I know you've got a bit of a bum knee, and I don't want it to I don't want you to have any more weight than you feel comfortable with. And like, let's try and stay at a pace where we're both comfortable with. And if you need to take a break, let me know. And we'll just like, I don't want to be pushing you past, what your comfort level is here. And he was like, well, don't tell me that I can put whatever I want in your backpack. Like, how am I going to sneak anything in your bag now? You've just removed all the fun out of it.
Nice. Yeah. So that just made it lame. I didn't want to put anything in his bag. So he reverse psychologied me.
Nice.
And, yeah,
except
as soon as someone tells you,
honest.
So that was lame. Didn't make me want to do it at all. And I just put all the shit I needed in my bag and we were ready to rock and roll.
Oh, wait, that that's funny.
Yeah. So we got there.
Go
we
ahead.
got there on the 30th, I do believe. So we got there, and again, we get out of the boat, tie it all up. We're pretty much ready to go. And then what are we doing? We're throwing crap in our bag. We're making sure we have everything. We're pissing around, wasting time. I don't think we left the actual boat until like after 10 o'clock. Like in contrast, like it gets light there. I think I was waking up 4:30 was my alarm or something like that, or when we were out actually on the knob-ish. So it's just, there's no need for that. And that wasted a lot of our time, I think, that day. So, and of course, that just makes it so that you're hiking in the heat of the day, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So that whole day of effort was spent underneath the sun. So just makes it a lot harder on yourself, I think.
Yeah, not fun. Not fun. Did you guys have any major gear failures?
Did we have any gear failures?
Which is always
Cole forgot the nice set of Chum's eyeglass cord thing lanyard that you put on your sunglasses so that they don't fall off. I gave him a set of brand new ones, and he didn't put them on his $350 Oakleys. And halfway up the trail, he was like, "Hey, have you seen my sunglasses? Like, did I put them in my backpack?" Yeah, that's a pretty major gear failure when it just disappears into the abyss.
Gone,
yeah, that sucks.
Gone forever.
Honestly, I think I lost it smacking bugs because they were pretty bad on the hike in. They were all over the place. Like if you stop for more than 5 minutes or whatever, they're swarming you. We can send you videos of our legs, our arms and stuff, just getting assaulted by these damn things.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
But so I think I had them on my hat, and then of course use the hat, kill the bugs, and lose the glasses. So
worth
there
it.
You go.
Worth it
for sure. At least I got some of them. At least 7.
Gear failure was maybe not bringing enough bug spray, or we didn't think we brought enough at first, but we were using that. There's a picaridin or picaridin. I'm not sure exactly how you say it, but it's a non-DEET, sort of natural, but not like hippie natural. But the shit really, really works. Like honestly, you spray that stuff, a couple sprays around you, and
you have cancer.
As bad as the
only
bugs
if you're in California.
They stayed right away from you. Like it worked better than any DEET spray. I don't know what you thought, Cole, but I thought it was probably the most effective bug spray that I've ever used.
I'd have to agree, and that almost upsets me because it was like some natural looking stuff, and I thought it was going to be a pile of BS, but it worked. Like I'd spray it on the lightweight hoodie, I'd spray it on the arms, and for whatever reason, they'd stay away from all my arms. So I was like, oh, well, okay, maybe this works. But then they'd be attacking my leg, so I'd spray it on my leg a little bit, and then it would work. So
that's awesome.
I don't know what kind of hippie voodoo's in that, but it works. So there you go. I thought it was just going to be a waste of weight. It was in his pack anyway.
My spotter didn't work very well because I forgot it.
You forgot your spotter?
Well, Cole's got the 95 and we kind of like split weight up that way. I pack the tent and the stove. He packs the spotter and a heavier tripod. I pack a lighter carbon fiber Sure tripod for my binos, and we tend not to split up very often. Like we pretty much are always within like eye shot of each other when we're glassing, and at least can do hand signals or something if we need to get a hold of one another. Mm-hmm. So I run my binos on a smaller, lighter weight tripod, and he runs 95 Swaro on a outdoorsman aluminum that's super stable, and it definitely is a bit heavier, but you just know it's not going to fail, and it's a nice piece of gear.
That setup sounds like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, you could probably fight a bear with it though.
It's like a 17-pound glassing setup. Okay. No thanks.
Yeah, I was talking to Alex Nestor there about it, and he's got a 95 and he's got a 115, and he runs
a window mount. He runs a window mount with
on a BTX, but he still said, he's like, if I was going into the mountains, I would pack less stuff and take the 115 because that thing is so incredible.
Don't tell me that.
Through.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah,
don't go there. Kafaru doesn't make a pocket big enough, do they?
I don't know, but
Well, the main pocket and our fulcrums are pretty big.
I can assure you I will not be packing anything bigger than my 65.
Yeah, I pull out my 65 next to Cole's 95, and it's like pulling up to the big feller in the locker room, but it still works.
Well, the guy she tells you not to worry about.
Totally. You know what? I get that. I totally get that, but I just I can't do it, man. I'll just like when we were on our goat hunt, and me and Wasey are both running almost the same spotter. He's running an ATS and I'm running an
That's what I have, an ATS, and you have the MTS or ATM?
No,
ATM.
No, that's something else.
No?
STM.
STM. Yeah, but it's a magnesium body, right?
Yeah, that's right. And no, it's stupid light, but it's the same glass as an STS. And I don't know, man. Like on our goat hunt, we would, do some IDing and some looking, and then it was just a decision whether or not we're getting closer. I know some of the country you guys hunt's a little different about getting closer. I think you guys get maybe limited out, but I don't know. Like there's obviously times when that 95 or that 115 would be real nice to gather the light and get a clearer image. But at the same time, I don't know if I can just justify the weight.
It's a little over a pound more, man. It's worth it.
When you're sheep hunting, even like looking at stuff inside of 300 yards, there's no way I would want to be looking through anything less than that 95, because when you got the phone scope on there and you're dialed all the way into 70 power magnification and you're trying to age rings if you really care about how old the sheep is, and you're trying to get a really good look at it, it's you want every bit of glass power that you can afford and afford the weight to pack in. So that's why I left mine, and just struck his, because it's the binos are great for locating stuff, but when you're really aging and trying to count rings and stuff, you need every bit that you can get.
What are you guys running for binos?
Cole, go ahead.
I got the NL Pures, the 12 by 42s this year, because Omer likes having all my money, it seems. And they are friggin' fantastic. They are so damn clear. That extra little bit of zoom does help, and they have the same field of view, or if not a little bit more, I think, than my 10 by 42 SLCs. So I don't know. They take the cake for me.
I think it's like 2% less, actually, in my defense, because I'm running the same SLC, the latest gen SLC 10 by 42s that have now been discontinued. Unfortunately, they're a nice bino. I like them. They work really well with my eyes, and the 10 power seems to be a really happy spot in there, and they're crystal clear. I really enjoy those binos, but I don't think I would run them without a tripod on almost any hunt that I'm going to have them around my neck or in my harness. I will pack that tripod, because the relief on the eye strain and how much more effective and efficient you are glassing off of a steady tripod that you can pan around with it. It makes all the difference, because sometimes you're just looking for an ear flick at a fly or a tail flick or a rock being kicked when something's adjusting their leg. Like, it's not necessarily black and white. The stone sheep, believe it or not, don't jump out at you when they're laying in a pile of stones that they are the same color as.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, we've had it where we're glassing a slope, and we basically glass over it for what feels like an hour, and then suddenly something stands up in the middle of it, and you're like, "What in the hell?" Like, it just materialized. You don't even know where it came from. But sure enough, they just blend in so darn well that you can't even see them, and you are looking for the flick of an ear a lot of times. And that's basically from like what was it they were kind of bedding down at, like 8:39. all the way up till probably 7 at night.
Something like that. Yeah.
They were bedded and just moving slightly to adjust their beds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we get into it in mule deer country a bit. You know, you'll look over the same chunk of country for hours and hours and hours, and then you get an ear flick or a deer turns its head and the light hits the antlers a different way, and there you go.
Yeah, you're saying, thank God, when there's a skiff of snow, though, even when it's an inch of snow, and all of a sudden things start popping up with the white background. That's always nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Ronnie always sends me some cool videos and stuff from his hunts, and like, you know, the ram that he killed this year, like, man, he's in those rocks and can't see him.
Yep. Well, I've got some pictures from my phone, which we're happy to have. I got the new like 12 Max Pro or something with a pretty sweet camera, so definitely took a lot of pictures with it this year. But there's pictures that we have like close, like within say 40 or 50 yards of us, where there's 7 or 8 or 9 sheep in the frame, and when you look at it on that screen, you can't see a single sheep until you zoom all the way in, and you're like, oh my God, that's not a rock. That's a sheep, like right there. And
that's a booner ewe.
Where's Waldo? Yeah, we did find a booner ewe. I think she was like 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, busted off tips and all. It was pretty cool, but
real wide, like as wide at the base as one of Jeff's sheep. You know,
that's wild, man. That's so wild. Yeah, it sounds like quite the adventure. You guys get into any bears? I mean, the bear stories are always great from northern BC.
Knock on wood, not yet.
Some bear sign that was fresh, and some other fellas that we bumped into on the trail got charged by a sow grizzly when they were crossing a creek on the way into where they were heading. But we never came across any face to face. No, but it's always a possibility when you're up there. So we tend to talk when we're in the trail if we're moving through thick bush, and if it gets real willowy or the thick alder thickets and stuff, that we'll keep talking to each other. And if we're sick of talking to each other, then one of us usually puts some hardcore gangster rap with Dr. Dre's a go-to
that's a good call.
on the phone, just to keep some noise going so that you're not sneaking up, because some of those horse trails, when it's soft dirt and stuff, and you can sneak through pretty quietly, and just I've come within 10 yards from a grizzly that I accidentally snuck up on that exploded out in front of me, and it's not a very comfortable, nice experience. So yeah, if you can avoid that, it's definitely best too.
Yeah, I haven't had any grizzly encounters yet. I mean, I've seen lots of grizzly sign and been in grizzly country quite a bit, but I've never crossed paths with one, fortunately.
The way things are going in our province, it's not an if, it's a when, though.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't carry spray.
Yeah.
We had multiple discussions about or 2 groups this year. We both kind of had gun, not issues, but like we built, had some customs built this year, and Cole's wasn't finished yet. So he
still isn't finished.
Still isn't finished. He took his 30 Nosler, which is kind of like a, proven, got a good track record, is a real hammer and sighted in and everything. So we knew we had one proven reliable gun, and then I did take this new 7 SOM in a rushed last minute stock that I had to drop it into, and I literally think I loaded 27 rounds as the night that I left to go drive up to Coles when we were leaving the next morning.
Yep.
I had shot at a bunch of the range with you and with Jeff, and it was like a a part-time job, adding that on, trying to get a load and the barrel broken in a little bit and stuff too. So we were kind of wondering, like, do I bring this or not? Or it's got a load that's shooting really well and it's sighted in, but it's not proven, and I can only get two rounds down into the magazine because of how wide that cartridge is, which was annoying. And we both always we run nothing in the chamber with the bolt closed, just because the nature of climbing around and on the trail. We both run those Kafaru gun bearers especially with this new one with the shorter barrel, I'm staring at the side of a muzzle brake in my nose, basically. So if something were to ever go off like that, it would be not very good. So
I do find with that gun bearer, when you're climbing through deadfall or climbing up hills or whatever, that thing's actually pointed at your partner if they're hiking in front of you.
It can be, depending on how you have it set up on the lower strap where the butt pocket goes. Yeah, it can definitely be pointing at your own head or pointing at your partner's head. So I would not be very comfortable with actually, I just wouldn't I wouldn't be around somebody that wanted to run one in the chamber, even with the safety on or not. Yeah,
I actually just did a bunch of adjusting on my gun bearer today. I was cruising through some thick stuff, and I was like, I don't know, I ran into a pretty good branch or whatever, and I got hit in the face with a barrel. And I was like, oh, wait, that's not good. No, I better move that.
Justin was having some issues with that too. He was doing a little head banging on the way. I think it was down.
I was wearing a hat, and the muzzle brake kept smashing the front of the hat perfectly and driving like the bill of the hat into my forehead, and pretty aggressively too. It was kind of a Chinese water torture, just over and over and over again.
That's funny.
We've got it figured out. So
yeah, I just scooted mine up a bit, so when it did swing towards me, it was the side of the barrel, not the muzzle. And
with your 280,
with the 280 I built there,
that's sweet. That's still the best option, though, I think, to actually carry a rifle when you're backpacking, because I don't usually run a sling myself. Like I either run that gun bearer, or it's strapped to my pack, or it's over my shoulder or something if I don't have my pack, which is very rare. I try to always have it with me. It's like, I'm not an archery guy, so there's no real point in me dropping it. And the only couple times I've ever dropped my pack, it's been a pain in the butt to try to find it again. Like Ranger Green is sweet until it's laying in the grass, dude. Like, I'll just remember it's beside this rock. Not.
Oh man. Yeah. I have a Kafaru pack in multicam, and it disappears when you drop it. But, I normally, like, if we're archery hunting, I'll pull an arrow and stick an arrow. Like, no, I won't stick a broadhead into the bag, but I'll lean an arrow.
Just stab it.
Yeah, just stab it. But no, I'll.
Hey, Aaron, can I grab another pack here? This bag's got a big hole in it. I have no idea why there's 4 blades.
He just teaches his daughter how to sew with it. He's got Hello Kitty patches all over his bag.
That'd be perfect. But no, I just normally throw an arrow against my pack, so it has a big like neon flag beside it.
Sweatshop.
Yeah, there you go. No, those gun bearers are phenomenal though, man. Like, I don't think there's a better way to carry a gun. Like, you're from a comfortable carrying position to shouldered and looking through the scope of a gun in like a second. I think it's the fastest way to go.
I would say it takes just a little bit getting used to having it kind of like coming through your armpit and dealing with your scope kind of right there. But I absolutely agree, as far as being able to have it accessible, you're kind of protecting the scope and the fragile parts of your gun because your arm's over it. And when you need access to that gun immediately, like even somebody that's untrained with it can probably have that gun out within 2 or 3 seconds in a ready to fire position. I ran the Kuyu gun sling or gun attachment on the pack, which kind of runs vertically. It runs vertically up the side of your pack.
Yeah.
And you unbuckle a plastic buckle at the bottom, and it kind of drops straight down.
Oh, yeah.
And it is nice because it gets away from your arm. And if whatever your ergonomics, or if it really the gun bearer style didn't work for you, it is a good second option. But it's nowhere near as fast, and you don't have the same amount of control. And when you take your pack off in a super heavy pack, like when you're over 100 or 120 pounds, sometimes your pack just comes off the way that it wants to come off as well too. And if your gun is strapped to the side of your pack unprotected, it can get banged around. And if you don't run a scope cover, your scope's going to get dinged up and scratched. And yeah, totally.
It's one of those things, like for me, it doesn't really matter where I am. I keep that thing handy. Like, if I'm gun hunting, I don't know, I just want that thing available. It doesn't really matter. I'm of the mindset that if it's on my pack, I can't kill something with it or use that tool. Especially like cruising through Grizz country and stuff like that. It's real nice to,
I don't know what you're talking about. I've seen my brother pick up a 14-pound rifle, strap to the pack, shoulder it, and shoot accurately attached to the pack still.
Yeah, I am. I don't have like that weird farm boy strength.
Yeah, bit of a monster.
But no, man, like that gun bearer is slick, and it's nice to not be dealing with the pack choking you out and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think a couple of years ago I bought Ronnie one, and we were in one of my elk spots there, and we were cruising through deadfall and all kinds of stuff, and like he's just messing with his gun all day, like extending his sling, shortening his sling, putting it over this way, over that way, and it's just like you end up carrying it like beside you half the time, right, to get through the bush. And then
and then you use it as a walking stick, and then it's clearing brush for you, and then and then you just end up knocking the shit out of it.
I fully used my 280 to get up like a rock ledge today.
Yeah.
I was like,
what do they say? If your gear doesn't have two purposes, it has no place going with you. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know.
Tyler's walking stick. There you be.
When me and Wasey were coming out of goat country, I think I told this story on the podcast already. I can't wait. I got to get Wasey back on here. He's actually in moose camp right now already. But when we were coming off that mountain, there's one spot that I was worried about getting down. It was just real steep and nasty, and so I strapped my gun to my pack and I lowered it down, and I guess like I picked the wrong I must have picked the side that had my spotter in it to strap my gun to.
Oh no.
And the gun just fully toppled, and Wasey just like did one of like that's
hope it shoots.
That's it was on the way out. That's an expensive gun to be dropping down cliffs.
I'm glad to hear it didn't have my scope on it.
No, it's actually beside me here. So,
oh, that's all right.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Well, Cole, best piece of gear this year. What's the standalone best piece of gear you had?
I don't know if there's a standalone. I would say I think those NLs were pretty much on top. Either those.
I didn't want you to say that.
I know, man. I know. Honestly, dude, like if they weren't that good, I'd tell you. I'd be happy to. But I wasted my money. Don't get those damn things. But they were that good. So sorry, dude.
I'd really like to get a set of 8s. I know you don't need it with the NLs because the field of view is so wide, but a set of 8s would just be badass.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to look through them all and then try them. Like you're free to try mine too, but then I might not get them back, so I might regret saying
you
that. You
said free.
Yeah.
Dibs.
You didn't say for how long.
What about you, Justin? Best piece this year?
This was the first sheep hunt that I've done with that Kafar Fulcrum pack, which is just unbelievable with the duplex light frame and a bunch of good accessories, the guide lid and everything, and that pack's a game changer, having room when you're coming in or going in and coming out. If you have an animal, you don't have to worry about not having enough room in it and having 2 trips. But then I would say it would
You
be
don't
tied.
like doing 2 trips?
No, I'm not a big 2-trip guy. Well, I'm a pretty big 2-trip guy actually, but I think I'm moving on. I've graduated from that. We don't even need to talk about that really.
Now you're a no trip. Are you a no trip guy now?
Well, yeah.
This year?
We take pictures of legal rams that we could have shot, and we come out empty. It's really easy.
That's cool. I like that. That's great.
Works pretty well. It would be a tie between that pack and I got a set of crispy Colorado GTX boots literally 2.5 weeks before we left, and I wore them I think 3 or 4 days and did 1 or 2 hikes with them, and my feet were perfect the entire time. Never had a blister, never had a hot spot. Could have them tied up loose or tight, and I don't know if it's just the way that they fit my specific foot, but I've had incredible luck with all crispy footwear that I've had so far, and I think I have 3 or 4 pairs of their boots now, and I can't say good enough things about the way that they fit and perform anyways. And Cole's on sheep hunt number 6 or 7 with his, and they're still holding up.
Yeah, I think I did 4. Yeah. I think that we're on 5 now of it, I do believe. And I hiked into a few ranges and stuff around here too. So yeah, you could say 6 or 7 in theory, but 5 of those were more than a week long. So I don't know why. I thought the synthetic would break down a lot faster. I also have the Brickstall model with the leather in them. And those are actually more beaten up than the Colorados were, which doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, that's just the way it turned out on these ones. And I'd get another pair as soon as these ones are toast for sure.
Nice.
But again, find whatever fits your foot, right? It's that's the main goal.
I think that's the whole battle, man. It's there's so many good boot options now from different mountaineering companies and stuff like that. If it doesn't fit your foot, who cares, right?
Oh, for sure. And getting mad at somebody for liking a different company of boot, it's ridiculous. It's like all of our feet look very different and are shaped different and different widths and arches are different and all that. And if you if you're upset that somebody likes a handwag and you like a crispy, then I think you're missing the point altogether. I think it's the biggest thing is having a boot that is going to work for your intended purpose, having the right insole in it, which you definitely like. No matter how much you're paying for boots these days, they usually come with complete garbage, little pieces of compressed cardboard for insoles. And I've found that with handwags, with crispies, with Zamberlans, Danners. I've run all kinds of boots, and the first thing I usually do is take that factory insole out and toss it in the garbage and put something with some gel and some support and something that's gonna hold up to the cushioning that your heel and the ball of your foot needs, and then hiking in them, not showing up with them fresh out of the box and wanting to go for a hunt and then being puzzled as to why your feet are covered in blisters an hour in.
They were somewhat fresh out of the box, didn't you just say that?
Yeah.
Well, but I still did the best to wear them in the time that I got. It's just the crispies were kind of hard to get a hold of here because they all come from Italy and then come through the States. The supply chain with COVID, like everything else, had been challenged somewhat. So
yeah, I mean, for insoles, for me anyways, I'm gonna try not to mix 2 words up here, because podiatrist, you go see a podiatrist get some insoles made. I think
no, that's an optometrist.
I was gonna say pediatrician at first, and I was like, no, that's definitely wrong. That's a kid thing.
Could look at your kids' feet.
Yeah, check out these kids' feet. I mean, oh man, that's who Jeff sees for his feet, right? But
he sees a pediatric podiatrist.
There you go. Perfect.
For the prince.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we covered the hike in now finally.
Pretty well. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so we made it most of the way in on the 30th anyways. Again, late start, stupidity, didn't quite make it all the way to where we wanted to.
I can't remember. Did you guys went in July 30th?
Yeah, July 30th.
Nice. So you went for...
I think we left either the 29th or the 30th leaving the boat. I can't remember.
It just feels like an eternity ago now.
Yeah,
I know. We've been outside so much since then. It's almost hard to remember. So I went through the pictures and kind of timelined it. And yeah, we hiked in on the 30th and then the rest of the way the 31st. So morning of the 31st, woke up, continued hiking. Got to actually the base of the mountain. We were kind of in the drainages. We were kind of looking at hunting. And what do we see other than two hunters pop out of the weeds, of course, and kind of look over at us, not say much, look at each other, swear, and then continue up the trail. I'm like, oh, mighty neighborly.
Jeez.
Yeah, most of the time when that happens, you usually go have a little chat and figure out who's going where, right? And sort it out, but whatever. We filled up our water at the creek, continued up the trail, and then it turned out they were a little further up the trail at a camp anyways, that they had set up on kind of like one of the main camp areas.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were fine and received everything well and chatted with them, made a plan. They're like, hey, like we've been here, we've been waiting. We're looking at this area. And I said, okay, well, we're planning to head up here. So I think that's what we're going to do. And we'll try that. And they said, okay, good luck. By the way, you might see 10 horses up there. I'm like, huh? Come again? And sure enough, there was a guide in the area and they brought a bunch of people up there. I think there was, what was there, Justin? There was 2 hunters, a cameraman, a wrangler, and the main guide all running around up there. So that was a great start to
I think they rode in with five horses and 5 pack horses going in with their camp, which we kind of had an idea that might be the case. Where we were going, we didn't know exactly where they would end up. We were just kind of hoping that it wasn't going to be right directly in the same range as where we were hoping to get to. So no, the 4 guys that we ran in, 3 guys that we ran into from the island, they were nice guys. We ended up eating dinner in their camp sort of with them and bullshitted for a bit, and we're pretty open and with them about like where we were heading and making sure everybody was comfortable and that we wouldn't be stepping on each other's toes, which is kind of the nice
my worst nightmare
etiquette thing to do. And when we're all there after the same thing in close to the same area, but not quite. And then we carried on and, further up the trail, fairways. But then when we figured out where the guide had their camp set up, I kind of looked over and I looked at where I thought we wanted to be in the morning. 'Cause now this is the 31st. So I'm thinking it's like, we're not far from dark and tomorrow morning is go time. Mm-hmm. And, looking at where the guides had their camp set up and looking directly straight up a moss covered rock slide mountain, at where we wanted to go. And I kind of looked at Cole and I think I said like, hey man, I think we should probably just sneaky Pete it and head straight up this. If you're comfortable with it. And he was like, are you serious? Like, you don't want to just walk right through the guides camp and flip them off and keep walking? I'm like, well, no, I think it would be a pretty good move to wake up right where we want to glass from and just kind of keep a really low profile camp if we can make it if we can make it up there. So that's what we did. And how did that go, Cole?
Well, we filled up water at the bottom, so I think we had 5 or 6 liters each, which, as you know, Ty, is lovely to carry up a mountain. Thankfully, it wasn't 10
very
liters.
heavy.
Very not good.
Not good.
On top of your now 11 days of food that you have with you at 2 pounds each. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Fill that up and then proceed to nearly put the trekking poles away and army crawl up a mountain because that's what your best friend does that you should probably do because it seems like a great idea.
We got a video of it, and I'm basically staring like my video angle behind Cole, like 3 or 4 steps, is looking up his pant leg, trying to talk to him, and it was actually a lot of boulder fields that had that thick moss blanket on it, and you kind of kick your foot through the moss and hope that it holds and that the rocks below it don't start trying to tumble down, and you're grabbing chunks of root and little plant vegetation and just praying like, I really hope this handhold holds because I'm putting way more faith than I should in a piece of roots the same size as my pinky here, but let's just not think about it and keep going straight up.
Please don't die.
Not so good.
Please don't die. Please don't die.
Well, thankfully we didn't. These plants also, they pull out a lot more than Tyler does too, judging by the look of his how many kids he's got.
I got a pile of kids. That's a good point.
That's right.
So you're going and you're trying, like we actually ended up almost going side by side up the mountain because we didn't want the rocks to kick down and hit the guy behind us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, when you're climbing and grabbing these roots, some of them are pulling out, so you don't want to grab that and then fall over onto him behind you too, or maybe you do. I don't know. That might cushion the fall a little bit, but trying to just like weave your way up, and then you get to points, Tyler, where you put your foot down and it just sinks into the moss, and all of a sudden it's like encased between a couple rocks. Because it's literally a boulder field covered in moss. So,
but you've lost your leg halfway between your knee and your hip, and you're like, oh boy, this is cool.
Yeah.
Please don't let anything move.
Please don't die.
Yeah. Please don't die.
It's easy when you've got a good guy that you trust that's beside you, and I don't know, Cole and I's dynamic is really funny because we like. The more shitty a situation is, the more we laugh and joke with each other and like just ignore the danger for the most part and like, oh, this is going to be hilarious when we think about it in a week or two from now. And let's just not think about this. How dumb what we're doing is. I think we started calling each other the bad decision crew because we knew it was going to suck. It sucked, and we just kept laughing and climbing up this, thinking how funny it was going to be at 4:30 in the morning when the guides rode up the hill to come glass on the edge of the mountain that we were laying in a moss bed, sleeping in, and we were already there in their spot, which is precisely what ended up happening. We couldn't find a spot even remotely big enough to set up the tent, and it wasn't raining, so I don't think we bothered pulling the tarp out, and we slept in a very weird position under a tree with our bug nets on to keep the mosquitoes out of our face.
Beauty.
And I think we glassed maybe for 15 or 20 minutes of the sort of waning dusk light, and maybe did we have a peak that night and cuddle up?
We had a peak and we were so damn tired. I think I threw my bag to the side, knocked over half a pot of ramen and almost cried.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that happened, unfortunately, but it was a 2.5 hour climb to the top, I think. So by the time we finally got everywhere we wanted to be, found our little nook in the moss, it was like he said, the light was fading for sure. Last, made the ramen, threw our slick bags down, and we used the Thermarest style glassing pads, just cut into strips. So like, the big Z-Rest pad or whatever, right? We just cut those into thirds. So it's just like a larger scale butt pad basically. And we put that down where your torso goes, and then just threw the slick bag onto the moss and laid down, put the head net on, and that was where we went to sleep. Turns out it's way easy to wake up in the morning if you don't have a tent around you. So
Yeah.
that's one plus to it.
That's what I was trying to tell Cole. I'm like, this is not like a primo camping spot that you'd want to roll up to with your girlfriend. But when you want to get up and do something early in the morning, the less setup and takedown time and the more uncomfortable you are, unfortunately. As long as you can grab a couple hours of shut-eye, it's the best kind of motivation to get out of your bag in the morning and get going.
That's funny.
Yeah, which is totally true. And it did work out that way as well. We were up before first light in the morning, kind of started packing our crap up. I think we actually did pack all of it up because we were on a certain ridge that we wanted to kind of check.
Along.
Yeah, so grabbed all that stuff, moved over to where we could glass, sat there for a while, continued on because where we were glassing, we were kind of looking down at these finger ridges. So you can see basically whatever side you're looking at, but you don't know what's over the other side of all those ridges.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's probably about 7 or 8 of them, I guess. I don't recall how many exactly, but like I said, you can only see that face that you're looking at. You don't know what's over the other side or where anything's hiding in those kind of crevices. Mm-hmm. So we glassed for a little while, got up, moved a ways, glassed for a little while, moved a ways, and then I seen 2 rams come off of a grassy knoll. And then they dropped down and they were moving sideways across this stuff. And then
Did they try and shoot a president?
So anyways, they went down, they were moving along. And then all of a sudden I waited there for probably about 6 or 7 minutes and they didn't pop back up. So shit, they're probably trying to make a break straight down to the tree line because we knew how hot it was during the day. We expected rams to probably be kind of taking shelter in the trees or finding shade or anything like that, right? Not just sitting on these rocks, baking themselves like a rattlesnake. So I continued along. Justin was a little ways behind. He was still glassing. So I was like, I'm going up on this. I'm going to go look here and then look straight down. He's like, okay, yeah. So I went up there. I'm looking straight down. Don't see anything. Wait there for a while. I'm like, okay, well, that ain't good. So in my mind, I'm thinking what happened is they hit this ridge and they probably found whatever one of these drainages that they liked. And that was probably their travel corridor to go down. Make their way down from whatever creek to a patch of timber they'd probably like. So I continued along, dropped over the other side of the ridge so that they couldn't see, took that quite a ways over, and then kind of crawled / shimmied my way over the ridge so I could kind of look down again so I wasn't skylining myself. Looking down, don't see him. Another 10 minutes goes by. What the hell? So I went back over, moved the rest, probably another kilometer to where I had actually spotted them.
Too bad you didn't look at your inReach at any point in this.
We'll get to that. Glass down that. I'm looking down, don't see anything. Start seeing some lambs and ewes. I'm like, well, that ain't good. So rams probably aren't going to hang around them. So whatever, blah, 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 glassing. Oh, well. Pack my crap up, wonder where Justin is. I haven't seen him yet. And well, we're not usually apart too much and I can't see him. So this probably isn't good. So grab my crap, start walking back and run into Justin. Okay, yeah, go walk all the way over, see him. He's like, hey, so you're not going to believe this, huh? Is your inReach on? Like, no. Why would that be on? I don't need to talk to anybody. It's just you and I. He's like, yeah, I was trying to get a hold of you. And I'll let him take it over from there for now.
Oh, yeah. Cole powered his way through sprint glassing. From my perspective, I'm like, I've never seen anybody glass in a spot for 5 minutes and then run off and glass in another spot. And well, as soon as Cole got, I guess, about 500 yards or 600 yards away from me, 2 sheep popped out right in front of me, probably about 85 yards. And they were both pretty heavy. And one was very, very much well past legal. Basically just, one of those sheep that's got that long tips. And you can take one look at them and see that if you weren't concerned with age, that you wouldn't really have to pull out the spotter and start looking at rings. It was like with the naked eye. And then when I pulled out the binos and looked, and they were stable enough. I was counting and seeing a lot of rings on them, but couldn't quite make out exactly how many. But I mean, there was no doubt that it was legal, and Cole and I sort of had a deal that he wanted a tipped out ram, and I was kind of more into a broomer, and that was how we were going to decide who gets to pull the trigger first, so that there's no just you make it easier on who's up to bat first. Anyways, unfortunately they did end up moseying on. I got a bunch of pictures of them, and the one out in front, the really nice tipped out one, he was really light colored sheep, very, very light gray with lots of white. I think we were calling them the fan ram, but unfortunately we did not spot that guy again. I mean, I could have put 100 bullets in him, but I was waiting for Cole, and also I think I wanted to get the spotter on him and confirm age and make sure that he was at least 8 or 9. But yeah, so I sent Cole an inReach message saying that, hey, I'm staring at a pretty nice tipped out ram here. I wish you were here. But that's how.
Remember, we were talking about how we never really split up. Yeah, this is like Murphy's Law right here. This is why, because I think every single time we do it, we mess something up or something stupid happens or whatever, right? But this is the perfect case. Mm-hmm. It could have been one for saying that we should carry 2 spotters, but in reality, we should just not split up. Like, you're sheep hunting as a team. Like, the better question would be if you even really need 2 guns, right? Like, if you could get it done with one, like the guys in AK do and stuff like that. But yeah, another lesson to learn, right? Just don't leave your sheep hunting partner. Yeah. Don't get too eager. But I thought for sure that they had taken that drainage and just dropped straight down. I wanted to see and clock them where they went into the timber was kind of my goal and my thinking behind it. Obviously, knowing what we do now, I should have just sat there. But if I had just sat there, they could have just taken that all the way down too, right? You don't know until it happens. And this time it was the wrong way.
Yeah. We know how it is, and like we knew how important glassing is, but it's just another one of those lessons that really drives that point home. Like, you can know something, but then when you literally see it play out in front of your eyes, you're like, okay, well, this is why. And when you think you're done glassing for sheep in a spot, sit there for 3 times longer and keep glassing, because otherwise you will miss things. There's absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you don't glass for longer than you think you need to, you're gonna miss rams.
Yeah, it's sort of I think it's actually a universal rule with hunting, right? Like, you can kind of apply it to any angle, you know, like you're saying, when you think you've glassed long enough, keep glassing, you know. It's that thing, you know, when you're moving through timber, when you think you're moving slow enough, cut it in half, right? Like,
yeah, totally, it can be. But yeah, in this case, it was just the wrong call on that one. But what the other thing that could have went different is when Justin was trying to get to me, when he seen these sheep, the sheep seen him as well, right? Because he was obviously trying to cover some ground and make his way over. Mm-hmm. And then he ran into these things, I do believe. And so the other thing could have been is if we had both just sat there and waited, and even if they didn't actually come over, if they just had dropped down, in theory, we probably could have just sat on that ridge line again, hidden, and we might have seen them again the next day, right? Whereas that older ram, what we think might have been the older ram, just never really returned. We never really put eyes on him again.
Which is often the way with old animals, right?
Until we found those pictures on Instagram.
Oh no, somebody killed him?
Yeah, the next day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was total proof of what Justin had said of, I don't want to shoot this thing without putting the spotter on it, because as it turns out, when it was aged, it went for a 7-year-old ram, which would have been kind of like a kick in the nuts for both of us, because we don't want to shoot a animal younger than what we already taken. We both took 8s last year, and the idea is you want to kill either at least the same or an older age class, right? I'm not of the belief that you need...
Yeah, not that we're bad mouthing the guy that shot it. He's a super nice guy, and it's a really nice ram. And in his defense, he had a ton of false annuli that looked really good. And like if people saw how long on his long side was, I think he's like over 39 inches. So he's got a serious amount of horn and sticking up way up above the nose. And in a split second decision, like it does look like it's a shooter, and it's got a lot of rings. They're just not all good, and it did, as far as I know, end up being a 7-year-old, which it is what it is. But Cole and I both would have just for our own selves would have been disappointed for ourselves if we had accidentally killed a 7-year-old, even if it was well beyond legal, which is something that we can go into a little bit further if we want here. I think we've already kind of touched on it on previous podcasts, but
let's let it rip a little bit. I mean, we're sort of in a situation in BC right now where I don't know if we're beyond the yearly average or what the deal is.
We're not quite yet. I think we're 6 under or something like that, maybe 5 under.
Yeah.
But certainly for that time of year, we were quite into it, right?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of young rams taken early this year, right?
Correct.
By the
yeah.
time we had come out, I saw something that a biologist from that area posted, saying that they had already had 50% confiscation rate, which coming out like, 2 weeks into the season was pretty disheartening to hear. And it was like, the inReach messages, and as soon as we got back into reception, the group chats and all your buddies, the sheep hunting community in BC for the most part is pretty small, and it was a lot of like, did you hear this 6-year-old got shot, this 7-year-old shot, these guys shot a 6 and a 7-year-old, this 7-year-old got shot, this, it was just tons and tons and tons of young rams, whether they're legal or not, getting killed so early. And there is an attitude, and I get it, of if somebody else is going to shoot it tomorrow, then why shouldn't I shoot it today? But I think you can hang your hat on your principles and your beliefs if you stick to them. It's not the end of the world on a sheep hunt coming out without one if you don't find the ram that you want. We don't go sheep hunting. Sheep meat is delicious, and it's great to have success, but that's not the reason not the sole purpose of a sheep hunt. And I think you guys would agree with that. And if you don't control what actions you make, you don't have any say over what some stranger does, but at least you can stand proud on what you believe in anyways, and that's the only way change happens. And you kind of got to set that example without trying to sound high and mighty too, because I very easily could have ended up, if I had been in a panicky situation and saw that the ram on opening morning, I could have shot it as well too. I felt like it was Cole's ram anyways, and even if I had had a spotter, I don't think I would have shot it. It was a beautiful ram, but I would have loved to see it and how impressive it could have been.
Yeah, I think so. But like you can, it's tough to say what the reasoning is behind all of this, right? And why these younger ones are getting shot, like these years now, whereas we didn't hear about it as much, say 2 or 3 years ago. You could say that could have something to do with the lack of actual hunters getting together and talking and kind of educating each other about it, right? Sheep hunting is right now like currently this big thing that everyone wants to do and test their mettle, and it seems like everyone needs to actually kill one to call themselves a sheep hunter, which we don't necessarily think is true, right? I think there's pride in being able to do it and actually survive, say 10 to 12 days or something in the BC wilderness. I think that's a pretty big accomplishment in itself. And to actually go find sheep, find rams, lay eyes on them and maybe make a few stalks or anything like that, or at least try to get close to them. And within shooting distance, I think that's a fairly big success within itself. But I think I'd probably lean on the fact that, like, without having these Wild Sheep Society banquets and things like that, to actually like be able to have these horn aging seminars and where people can actually go and put their hands on these and kind of like learn about the annuli, learn about fake ones, learn about what all of this is and what the reasoning is behind shooting an older age class animal that's closer to death's door rather than taking a young breeding ram out of the herd, right? So there's lots of reasons that you could blame it on, right? So you can't just pin it on these hunters that are out there killing them, as much as a lot of people want to, and your initial reaction and mine might be. You can't just blame them if they don't know any better, right? And that's not to say that someone who shoots a 7-year-old ram for their first sheep is a bad person. Like, if it's well over the nose, then good on you, right? Like, congrats, you did it. Now, see if you can do it better. See if you can get one that's older, smarter, and more mature and has this kind of figured out, right? I think that's a big portion of it and what we really strive for.
I think it's maybe important to touch on the fact too that like we're super into sheep hunting and in the community and like a lot of our friends are big into sheep as well too, but there's guys that have killed and seen more sheep than I can dream of in BC that don't have Instagram and aren't on, Hunting BC or any of the forums and stuff. And hats off to those guys that, have passed up more legal rams than I may ever get to see in my life. And by no means are we the top guys in our own heads or not, but that striving towards something better and trying to do better than what you think that you can do and doing the best thing that you can for that population is what it's all about. It's not about just putting meat in your backpack and getting a picture with a set of horns. And if it is that, then I think you maybe need to take a look in the mirror and think about why you're out there and doing that. If you're sheep hunting for an Instagram picture.
Yeah, that's definitely not what it's about in my eyes. But
I did it for the vine.
Yeah, unfortunately, to some people, it might be like that, right? Yeah, that's a big issue for sure. Like, social media is quite a big thing, of course, and yeah, everyone wants their little bit of fame and to look at how great they are. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think. I mean, social media and society right now is an interesting thing, right? The different ways that people use it for, self-gratification or to, I don't know, maybe get something that they're missing within themselves. But I mean, I think when we're out there doing this stuff, it should be more meaningful than, people hitting the like button on Instagram or the thumbs up button on Facebook,
Totally, man. And like Justin said, like, these guys who have actually passed up more sheep than we've ever seen, like Big Red, who we met on the side of the river there, like, those guys, they know. And if you ever get the chance to talk to them, just like do it. like, don't ask them where, but ask them the why, ask them the how, right? You'll learn so much more by just like talking to these guys who've been doing it for 19, 20 years. And then in their eyes, you can even see it, right? You can see that fire's there, that drive for it, and that just absolute love for the mountains. Like, I don't know. I think that's what keeps us going. And that's what we like about it so much, right? Is that challenge and the territory and just, the vastness of it all, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, look at guys like Ronnie, right? Ronnie's been doing this. Ronnie's 10 years older than me. So what does that make him? 44, something like that. And Ronnie's been doing it since, he was late teens, getting after sheep. And, there's many years that he doesn't pull sheep out of those hills. And, it's not because the opportunity wasn't there. It's because he chose not to, right?
Yeah, eventually I think you probably decide what you kind of want, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope to get to that stage where I really figure all that out, but currently that's just a goal. We're still learning and not even knowing how to pack our backpacks properly, so we got a long way to go.
I mean, Justin didn't even bring a spotter. Surprised he brought food.
True enough.
I don't need food. I'll eat moss and chipmunks or gophers or whatever. Groundhogs.
Man, I struggle with food on those hunts, dude. I'm just like,
you and me both. Yeah.
Do you get like that too? You just can't get motivated.
I'm on him, man. I'm making him try to eat. I'm like, hey, bro, what'd you eat today? Hey, I didn't see you have much. Hey, did you eat that bar?
I eat enough for a family of 5 in my normal life, and then when it's hot and we're hiking and I'm not drinking enough water and I'm glassing and focused on other things, for some reason my appetite just goes out the door, and I've really got to like force myself to eat. And this year I definitely brought some more like a little bit more unhealthy snacks maybe, but just to get some calories in, that I would be excited to eat some snacks and like get some of those calories back in that you're depleting at a pretty fast rate doing what you're doing. So I think that's a good thing. Like pack things that you're going to be excited to pull out and eat. And if you're packing them up and your stomach's queasing and you're half hurling from how many peanut butter pieces that you ate last year, then maybe switch it up. And you don't necessarily have to pack your food based on numbers on a spreadsheet of your nutrients in them. Like you still got to want to eat it.
Yeah, there's not a chance in hell that I could eat a Cliff Bar.
Yeah. Well, what's his name you had on? Kyle Southgate, our buddy there. That dude, he can chew on like birdseed and be completely happy and just eat that crap for the calories and continue on his day. But like, oh man, I can't do it. Those green belly meal bars were or whatever, like he gave Omer one and he couldn't even stomach it. There's so much seed and it's just dry and just tastes dense and there's just nothing to it. Right?
I do have the advantage of being a super boring eater in the first place. Like in my normal life, I can just like live off chicken and rice and nothing else. Like, I'm like super, super plain. So like, I mean, I think Wasey was laughing pretty good on the goat hunt because I only brought like one meal, like one type of meal. And he was like, man, you need some variety. I'm like, no, dude.
Oh man, I'm not like that at all.
I'm just trying to swallow calories. Like I can't be bothered.
Food is just an obstacle for you that you need to get past.
Yeah, that is not me, man. That is not me.
Except for like eat more bars. I can get down. I eat more bars anytime.
Well, fair enough. Again, something you're looking forward to eating, I guess, right? Which is good.
You know, I'm always looking forward to a greasy burger when you get to the truck.
We got a pretty good tradition going of like having a really good dinner the night before. Like because we usually end up pulling in the boat wherever we beach and camp for the night closer to the evening, and make a fire if that's allowed, and have a nice, have a beer and have a really nice meal, to kind of get like one good last bit of food in you. And we brought some steaks from Omer's this year and had cooked up some bacon and, you know, cooked that over the fire in a cast iron pan. And that was like, oh, that just changes everything. And puts you in such a good mood to have a nice steak and beer and enjoy some food and like having some good food to come back to at the boat, not just thinking like, oh, I guess we can have another freeze dried meal at the boat. Like, oh, there's bacon and eggs and beer and stuff at the boat. Like that's pretty nice to come
some
back
pep
to.
in your step on the way down the mountain, I would say, for sure.
Man.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Unpopular opinion before we kill this thing, because we're getting close to my bedtime. Unpopular opinion, I don't think there's any dehydrated food that's actually good.
I don't know. I like that peak refuel, man. I quite like it,
dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Okay, so there's not any time in my life that I've ever been like, you know, sitting in traffic, like, man, I could sure go for a dehydrated chicken teriyaki and rice or whatever.
I've had some long nights at work and come back and seeing a peak sitting there and going like, I'm boiling some water, man. This is sweet pork and rice. I'm having a peak.
What? I don't know, man. I there's not many I can get into. I think the only one I really actually like is that the strawberry and granola one. That one's money.
Oh yeah, with the rice milk. That one's real good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Mountain Bear granola. That one's good.
Backpackers Pantry Pad Thai is pretty kick ass too.
It's a staple.
I'm like deathly allergic to cilantro, so I just fall over dead.
You're one of them weird soap guys.
No, I'm not. It's not like I like the taste of it. I'm just super allergic to it. I get like these gnarly migraine. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But
I haven't heard that before. It's a new one.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
poor guy. That sucks.
It's not good.
Tacos will never be good enough for you,
dude. I love tacos.
Oh yeah, what did we do? Yeah, I brought a pack of tortillas. That was the best thing I did this year too. Because if you are getting sick of your freeze dried and like you do kind of just feel like you haven't had any sort of real food after a while, but pack a whole thing of large like corn or flour tortillas in, and you can dump all of your breakfast skillets and even your dinners in a tortilla and wrap it up and have a burrito. And then it kind of tricks your body into thinking that you're eating like some form of real food.
You're like, this might be food.
But it might be. It like kind of tastes good, like the bite of a real flour tortilla here. But that's a good trick too. They're a little bit heavy. But, you know, as you eat them, and they seem to last pretty well, even in the heat, non-refrigerated. Like I was probably still eating tortillas 7 days in 30-degree plus heat.
I think tortillas keep, right? They're just flour.
Well, they did. We didn't get sick from it, so I think we were all right.
No, they got a little like warm and sweaty inside the plastic bag, but I kind of tried to keep them in the shade.
That's good. It's like it's like having them in a warmer. Nice. I don't know. I'm still like my go-to meal is still just like Mr. Noodle, or for you guys, Mama Noodle.
Mama,
dude, so good.
It's like best way to get diarrhea in a rush.
Sheep hunting partner. Right here. So we're loading up our bags and whatever. And he passes me these things of ramen. I'm like, what the fuck are these? He's like, oh, dude, they're the best ramen ever. I'm like, what? It's all this like Chinese writing. I can't even read this bag. I don't know what's in it or what's going on, what flavor it is. Like, I don't friggin' know. I'm like, oh, okay, dude, whatever. Like, sure, here you go.
Why is there a picture of a shrimp on it?
I don't want shrimp ramen, homie.
It says Mama. It's apparently chicken flavor. It's got a picture of a shrimp on it, and I'm nothing but confused.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ronnie's thrown one of those to me too, and I'm like, this is gonna give me a stomach ache. He's like, do you want the hot sauce? I'm like, no, I don't want a hot sauce from a bag of Mama Noodle. What are you doing? He's like, have the oil. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, never had such a bad stomach ache in my life.
Okay, well, I did not experience that. All I experienced was sheer happiness when I get into those noodles on top of the mountain with the hot sauce and that extra little bit of fat. I don't know what kind of fat. I don't want to know.
That's sesame oil, I think.
You don't want to know. No, it's
sure,
definitely
let's go with that. That sounds way better than what I was thinking.
Definitely cat. Go ahead.
It could be. Yeah, meow. But Either way, it tastes so damn good when you're up top there. And I think having that heat from the chili powder or whatever it is you put in there, it seems to actually help my appetite too, that I actually want to eat more after. So when it's hot like that, you're eating hot food for whatever weird reason, like it keeps me eating more, which I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but that's what happened. I swear.
We'll
I
have
cannot
to
tell a
give
lie.
credit where credit is due. That was Nolan from the Journal of Mountain Hunting. He was talking to me about my not wanting to eat issue, and he's like, "You got to pack hot sauce, or you got to pack some real spicy food, like some ramen with chili powder, and put all the chili powder in it, and eat that before you try and eat your meal." And that hot spicy does something to your body, and it helps your appetite. And I shared every single one of my ramen that I brought halfway with Cole as an appetizer before our dinners, and I didn't not finish a dinner the whole time. So I think it works. So thanks Nolan.
I'm that's it. I'm putting hot sauce on it to eat more.
There you go.
You're an animal.
Savage. There you go.
Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, best sheep hunting partner a guy could ask for right there. Shares his food that he packed all the way up every day. I threw in a few like
fun of it.
soups. Oh yeah, I did. I tore him up a little bit over it too.
Jeez.
But yeah, I shared my whatever that crappy miso soup I brought and the Lipton chicken noodle soups. Those were all right, but yeah, the miso was a swing and a miss, I would say. So pack the mama.
There you go. Well, we have a bunch of other stuff I want to cover with you guys, so we'll have to do this again here soon because you guys.
That's sweet because we made it 3 days into our hunt.
Yeah, exactly, right. And we'll have to keep going on that. And you guys have got me deep down the reloading rabbit hole because now I'm a gun hunter apparently.
Dude, you're a gun guy.
I love this transition.
Hey, you
transition into effectiveness. Like, I'm so proud of you, man.
You two just shut up. I'm not transitioning into anything. It's just
you're growing up, Tyler.
No,
accept it.
No.
The last like dozen pictures I've seen from you hunting with a pack on, I've seen a nice barrel sticking up past your head, and I'm really happy about it.
Well, some of those are just hunting in areas that I've never been in, and sometimes I'll pack a gun
whatever excuse you need, Tyler, to pack that gun, you take it, my friend. It's all good. We are 100% with you on it.
Oh,
I want you to know that.
I'm all for it. I support you wholeheartedly.
Regardless, I've been going down the precision rifle and hand loading rabbit hole, and it's a lot of fun and it's cool. I'm sitting at the podcast studio table here, which is now a podcast studio, and all of my reloading stuff table. And it's a big mess. And you guys,
that's good, man. Just push all that archery stuff on the floor.
You just
drop it. And all of a sudden, you have a barrel vice on there.
I'm ending this thing. That's enough. There will be no barrel vices.
No, I'm happy to hear that. That's cool. I've been reloading for at least 15 or 16 years now, and I'm still learning stuff. And it's a great thing to take a bunch of mental space up and waste a bunch of time and money. It's awesome.
Yeah. Stuff. All categories I'm running short on: money and mental space and time. So this is great.
Time is one of the main ones, I would say, for sure. But I like that about you. You can't do anything halfway. Hey, let's get into hunting. Well, we should probably start a podcast about it. Let's go full in. Let's do this.
There you go. It's
awesome.
Yeah. Let's have kids. Let's have 40. All right. All right. Let's pull the ripcord on this thing. We will reconnect here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll finish the story about your hunt. But I already got my pajamas on. I'm about to tuck myself in.
Oh, so you're naked. Right on.
Right on, boys.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave us a review. If you want to support the podcast, please check out the gear on our website at wildernesslocals.net.